It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
We all seem to have that inner critic inside our heads. I have a committee, the Itty Bitty Shitty Committee. You know what I mean, that nagging voice, or voices in my case, that knocks us down and drags us down the road of self-sabotage and self-neglect. A strong positive sense of self-esteem is your first step to anything you wish to accomplish. Discover who you truly are, that gorgeous, talented, fabulous woman who deserves recognition and unconditional love. You know, the most beautiful thing any woman can wear is confidence. Here on Confidence in Bloom with the Divas That Care Network, I, Tina Spolatini, speak with women living in their own self-confidence about who they truly are, how they found themselves, and how they care for themselves. Today I'm speaking with Diane Pila. Resiliency is a skill that is essential in today's market. Quickly recovering from difficult situations, overcoming challenges for growth, and adapting is necessary. Accredited business accelerator and certified neuro coach Diane Pila is renowned for taking you to the next level, guiding you not just to cope with adversity, but to optimize it and then use it for your advancement, making targets achievable and growth inevitable. No wonder Diane's clients sing her praises, from medium-sized business owners right on through high-level executives and solopreneurs. The results of her innovative, empowering approach speak for themselves. Her clients increase growth and momentum by implementing personalized systems and processes and identify the root cause of any roadblocks. And you can leverage the power of neuroscience to get you past that plateau and supercharged for real success. Hello, Diane.
Oh, hello, Tina. I'm so thankful. Thank you for the invitation. This is exciting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I always love connecting with, soul-hearted women. It makes, we live in a world where women are really still trying to make their footsteps, and knowing that there are women like you still still working. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Still, you're doing everything you can to help women make their steps, and I think that's incredible.
Yes, and I love the theme of confidence. Confidence is such it's such a powerful a skill that we can develop, and it really is a skill to recognize, where our zone of genius is and what we have to offer. And so much of that has been, kind of pushed down because, especially women, we care for many people, and oftentimes we put ourselves on the back burner, and that's when confidence starts to wean away because we feel like we just need to be the caregivers and, support and help, and we forget about ourselves. And then the more we forget about ourselves, the lower our confidence gets. So confidence is very powerful.
Yes, I agree 100%. So obviously that's how you define, right, is by, tell me again, how would you define self-confidence?
Self-confidence is a belief. It's a belief. It's a true belief. In the introduction, you talked about a neuro coach. So many people are like, what does that really mean? But really, at its core, neuroscience is the study of the human mind and how it influences our behavior. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it comes from a belief within us that ultimately guides us to the different behaviors. And so without, if we don't feel that confidence or believe that we, are confident, then we will take steps back. We will shrink back. We'll step away. We won't really, go for that thing that we really want, that dream that we really know is possible, but we don't feel that we have, the time, the knowledge, the ability to achieve some of those things. And so beliefs really, when we look at them from a neuro perspective, is that we need to look at, if we're not feeling confident, we need to look at removing the patterns of thought that have been repeated. Because what we know from neuroscience is if a thought has been repeated, it becomes a belief. It becomes a belief. So our mind is set in a way that, if we do these same things repeatedly, then, we don't have to think, we don't have to use our prefrontal cortex, that, 10% of our mind that really is focused on, the current. It will automate things so that it can conserve energy. So, think of it like driving to the same grocery store every day. You don't have to think about where to turn and how to start your car and all of those things. So it's a very powerful, the brain is a beautiful, beautiful machine, really. And when you look at it that way, it's like, so now I've repeated thoughts about how I'm not capable, or, that's too big a goal for me. That becomes automated as well. So it causes the behavior to slow down and not take those steps towards what we know we really can do, but we hesitate and we hold back.
Yeah. I like how when you said driving to the grocery store, like we do that without even thinking. And it made me think when we move, like I moved, when I was first married, I lived with my in-laws. And then we built our own house, which was maybe 5 or 10 minutes away. And when I left work, was one day in the first couple of weeks, I'm going home now. And I drove to my mother-in-law's house.
Yeah.
And when I got there, I'm like, what am I doing here? I wanted to go home. But, autopilot brought me to, where I was used to driving to. And I remember thinking, oh, my gosh, my brain, it needs to change.
No, you know what? Here's the way, I welcome and invite you to recognize that, wow, if our minds can do that, of course it's going to automate everything that comes in. Our minds, it's not moral. Our subconscious is not moral. It's like, okay, what is being repeated? Let's just automate it. Because I want to conserve that capacity to do other things. So, people say that, multitasking is, it's just not possible. Well, there's some things that multitasking is good and it works. So, you can have a conversation with somebody on your drive home from work, or you can, think about what is the grocery list, or you can start thinking about, what am I going to prepare for dinner when I get there? So you don't have to be thinking about the left turn and the right turn. It makes us more productive. So when we, have thoughts that are repeated about we maybe aren't skilled enough or knowledgeable enough, or, that's just too big of a dream for me to go for, that becomes automated too. And it's where what we see it as is like, what's wrong with me? Like, why don't I just, like, why do I hesitate? How come I can't feel confident in doing that? Like, there's so many other people. How are they doing it? And I just can't step forward. But it's our mind's ability to protect us for anything that can be a threat. And anything new is a threat. So it's just one of those systems that is automated. So if you're struggling with that, they've been struggling for a while, that's what it is. It's not you. It's not your ability. It's not your knowledge. It's not your skill. It's none of that. It's just simply a pattern that's been automated.
Okay, I get that. It makes sense the way you explain that. So tell me, how do you change that pattern? Like, is it a matter of doing or saying, or is it both? Like if I want to change, like any pattern that my brain is following, and I want to change that. I want to get rid of that and make that something completely different, like obviously like a routine of whatever.
Yep.
It's not just a matter of taking affirmations and saying, you know, I now do this or I now do that.
Right.
You have to
Right.
actually do it in order for your brain to remember.
Well, okay, so a couple of things. So first of all, you know what, the affirmations are great, but they're not all of it, because what happens if you say these affirmations, but your subconscious is like, that's not true. What happens is something called cognitive dissonance. So it's like the prefrontal cortex, the logical thinking part of your mind, is saying that, but the subconscious is like, that's not even true. That's not true. So you're not in a belief stage, right? So how you get through that is really noticing what you're thinking at that stage. So if you, let's pick one, Tina. Let's pick one. Let's help. So tell me what's something that, give me an example, and I'll walk through that. Because it doesn't matter what it is.
Okay, so let's say it's hitting the snooze button to get out of bed.
Okay, so that has become a habit. That's just automatic, right? So
yeah.
Now, if you go to sleep at night, and we've all done this. So you go to sleep at night, it's like, that's it. Tomorrow morning, I am not hitting the snooze button. I am jumping out of bed right away. I'm just going to do it. And your subconscious is like, yeah, but I really like that extra sleep. I really need that extra sleep. It's important for me to be productive in the day so I can get that sleep. Your mind knows how important sleep is. So it's going to come and fight you on that. It's almost going to be like a toddler having a tantrum. It's like, no, hit the snooze button just one time. Just one time, I'll get up right after this. And you really believe you will, but then, then you get up and then you're frustrated with yourself because you're like, I said I wasn't going to do that. So we have to disrupt that pattern. And a disruption to the pattern is to change the systems that you've already been doing, the programming, right? So it would be, okay, well, I'm going to put my phone or my alarm clock, whatever that is, across the room. So I actually I can't hit the snooze because I can't reach it. I have to literally get out of bed before I can reach it. You have to start disrupting those patterns, disrupting the regular routine, just like going to a different grocery store. You're going to have to turn left instead of turning right. And, it's putting on that signal light. So taking those patterns and disrupting them with some new kind of behavior that's going to work. So you got to get creative sometimes. And, if it's more of a thought process, like, I'm not confident, or I'm going to do that. I'm going to call that person today, or I'm going to, take that course, or I'm going to, apply for that position. There's a belief there that has to be challenged, and that's it. So we can look at the thought patterns that are coming, like that are coming in, like, okay, I'm going to apply for this, but oh my gosh, I don't think I'm qualified enough, or I don't know if I have time for it, or whatever it is. But then we kind of put on almost like a lawyer's hat, and we just examine that thought and go, just wait a minute, is this actually true? Is this actually true? Do I have the skills? And start pulling out evidence that goes against that thought, so that it starts,
and kind of prove to yourself.
It disrupts that belief, just like we disrupt the pattern of hitting snooze by moving the alarm clock. So when we disrupt a pattern of thought that has become a belief, we just pull it forward and go, wait a minute, this is a thought, this is a belief that I see now that's, I don't know, it doesn't matter where it came from, and it probably served you at one point, but when we're going to a next level, or if we're doing something new, your mind is going to have a little bit of a tantrum. So the best thing to do is to recognize it, go, wait a minute, what am I actually thinking? And pull that forward and start finding the evidence that goes against that belief. So have a little notebook. Like, look, I've achieved this, I've achieved that, I am qualified for this because of that, I've done this, I've done that, and really pulling those facts forward so that it disrupts the belief. It's like, oh, okay, wait a minute, maybe that isn't true.
Right. And I think, like you said, like have a notebook. I don't know if you meant literally a notebook, but I think with women especially, I've heard that if we actually write it down with a pen on paper, our brain does remember that better.
100%.
I don't know how true that is.
It's 100% true. Yes, it involves both.
Diane.
Pardon me?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what happens is, like, you know, I mean, obviously as life goes on, we all start to see, like, what we truly are, right? I mean, we tend to go, okay, so I've done this in the past, I've done that in the past, but now, today, the person I am today, I don't want to do that anymore, right? Like, you know, as we get older, like, I don't want to spend, you know, 20 hours a week cleaning my house, or I don't, you know.
Right.
So when you're honest with yourself and you're saying, I don't want to do it anymore, how do you change that kind of thinking?
Well,
because you're being honest, right? Like, you're being honest with yourself. It's not a matter of I don't know how or I'm not capable. Yeah. You know you're capable. You know that you know everything about what you're trying to change, but the reality to yourself is I don't want to. How do you make yourself want to again?
Oh, so for the productive parts, you know, okay, so let's talk about celebrating wins, and let's talk about recognizing achievement, because, you know, that may mean hiring somebody to clean your house. You know, it might mean that might be the answer. Right. If you want to spend more time growing a business or, you know, whatever that may be, if that's not what you want, if you want to now make it so that it's enjoyable, we can really recognize the accomplishment part of it and celebrate that. So celebrating wins is it's a chemical kind of cocktail that happens in our mind. So when we do something that's like, okay, if I do the vacuuming every Wednesday morning, after it, I'm going to celebrate that. I'm going to celebrate that with, you know, just sitting on my deck in the beautiful Alberta sunshine with a, you know, beautiful cappuccino or whatever you love. And you really acknowledge that is accomplished. It actually, what it does is it gives us a dopamine, kind of surge of dopamine going, oh, okay, this is good. This is good because I feel so good. It's, you know, the house is vacuumed. I feel really good. I'm going to celebrate that. I'm going to recognize that is achievement. And then it's all about those micro wins. And what happens is our brains want dopamine. They want that feel-good chemical, right? So when you show it that, oh, if I do the vacuuming, I get that dopamine of that nice time, and you can put anything in there, whatever a celebration of a win is, whatever that means for you. If it means reading a book for 15 minutes, not distracted, if it means, you know, driving to Starbucks for that special coffee, or what, it could be anything. Then that's where your mind starts to go, okay, this isn't bad. You know what? I focused on it. I did it. It's done. I feel great. And now I've got the rest of the day to do whatever.
So
I don't know if that was kind of convoluted, but
no, I get it. Like, yeah, so I'm thinking it's more about like the self-discipline and sort of reteaching your body. Like, you know, you can't have that cappuccino on the deck just because. You know, you have to do something in order to almost deserve it. Even though,
right, and let's not talk about have to or deserve or, when you look at it like, you know, how do you feel when your house is clean? Like, ask yourself that, you know, like, how do you feel? Does it, you know, if I don't do the vacuuming, then I'm feeling discouraged. I'm feeling like, geez, I'm lazy. I just don't want to do it. And now it's like, it's pulling me through the whole day because now I still haven't done that. I still haven't done that. I still haven't done that. Do you see the pattern that happens? Now it becomes a self-sabotage pattern in a way because now it's like you're not smart enough or you're too lazy or whatever that is, right? But when we can shift it to showing our minds that no, I'm not. You know, I put it in my, you know, I put a time in my day where I'm going to do it, and I did it, and I feel good. And you get that small win and you celebrate it. Now that shifts the reasoning behind why you're doing all of it. Because if we don't recognize and you know, congratulate ourselves, I mean, let's be real. I'm a mom and you're a mom. I mean, mostly they don't recognize if it's vacuumed or not. You know, they're not going to come home and go, "Wow, Mom, this is great that you vacuumed the floor." They're not. You know, we're not going to get any kind of celebration from it. But when it's not done, then we as women feel, and it could be anything. It's not just even housework. It could be, you know, making cookies or, you know, making healthy meals or whatever it is. We're the ones that feel not enough, right? Which attacks the self-confidence 100%.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we do that to ourselves because, like you said, they don't care.
No.
Right?
No.
And if they do care, you know, they're going to be like, okay, if you're not doing it, then I guess I have to do it if they care enough.
Yeah, you know what? And they're probably going to be happy with hot dogs and Kraft dinner. Let's be real. Like, you know, they're like lots of times, okay, if there's no broccoli at dinner with a nice healthy meal.
Right? Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, but so we're not getting that you know, we're not getting that recognition. And, you know, I always talk about inside out model. The outside in model will never work, which means looking for outside accolades for doing the mundane things that we still need to do, whether it be vacuuming or planning a healthy meal for our family. If we're looking for those outside in, we are never going to feel fulfilled. And they will always feel like a horrible, yucky task that you have to do and you're going to put off. So if we switch it to, no, this is the inside. I'm celebrating me. I'm recognizing me for getting this yucky thing done. By treating myself and celebrating that, your mind starts to take a different approach to those yucky things that we have to do or the things that we do that we hate. You know, either we can remove them and figure out a different way or get somebody else to do it, or we can recognize that we are, you know, we're celebrating ourselves for doing that.
Right. And accept the fact that we deserve to celebrate whatever it is that we've done, and that makes it maybe a little bit easier for the brain to accept.
Oh yes, often. Celebrate wins often. This is absolutely key. Because we never recognize our achievements. We're always looking for, okay, that's done, now what's next? Now what's next? Now what's next? And so we're in this go, move, go, and we don't stop to recognize. And I'm talking celebrating wins can take 3 minutes. I mean, I have a whole list that I choose from. I'm like, great, you know what? I got done that, you know, that PDF or that contract that I had sent out. This is great. Sometimes it's even just putting on, I have a playlist ready to go, putting on a song that I absolutely love and just going, woo-hoo, yay me, and moving and celebrating. It just up-levels that. So when I sit down to do those tasks now, my mind is understanding that, yeah, this is what I want because I'm going to get dopamine right after this is done. So you can actually stretch that to your mind being able to stay out of that looking for dopamine and stay really focused on that task because there is a reward. And now you can't rely on others bringing in that outside in. You can't rely on others. I mean, my husband's really great, but you know what? I don't want to rely on him to come home and say, wow, honey, this is, you know, the house looks wonderful. And I mean, he does often, but there's things that I do that, you know, I'm not going to, you know, organize a junk drawer or a closet and expect like, okay, now I need to get the, you know, the accolades and the you know, the celebrations from my family. It's coming from me. I'm like, wow, okay, I did this. I feel great. I don't care if anybody wanted that or not, but I like to live in a place like this or whatever.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense because you're not going to like, oh, before you go to bed, make sure you go look at the closet downstairs.
Yeah, they don't care, and they don't
like
care.
As if they care, right? Yeah,
they don't. Yeah. So micro wins. So I'm like really, if one small step towards building that confidence is having a list of micro wins that you can celebrate, a little, micro wins, like they're small, not the big ones. Don't wait for, gosh, when I, do this in 2 or 3 months, it's too long. You'll never get that satisfaction and fulfillment. You're always going to feel like it's not quite enough. But when you celebrate wins, and I'm talking micro wins like, completing a PDF or cleaning out a junk drawer or vacuuming, micro wins is key. So, could be, and often, 3 to 5 minutes. And if you have a really big one, you can say, you know what, at the end of the week, I'm going for a pedicure because it was just such a good week. So really just focusing on recognizing what you have accomplished is what most women don't do, because there's always something more.
Right. Of course. So now, we touched mainly on personal housework stuff. How would you do this? Obviously you would use the same format for women in business, right? Pick a small, it wouldn't even be because it's mindset. You're changing mindset. How does that work with a business? Because, obviously we're not looking at, vacuuming your office. That's not going to bring you in clients, right? What kind of solutions do you offer for, business-wise? Because, you're dealing mainly with entrepreneurs. So you're not dealing with housewives.
Yeah, no, this is my wheelhouse. This is where absolutely I focus. And so business growth is about those micro wins. So let's talk about the micro wins. There is, the to-do list should be almost thrown in the garbage because it will never end. It will never end. There's always, at the end of the day, there's residual stuff that gets moved to the next day. And so we oftentimes finish our day feeling like I've been, working till my eyes bleed, but there's still more things to do. So your mind gets into that slow pattern of, it's not done. It's just not done. I am never done. And so if I am done, that's not going to be familiar to me. So I got to make sure I keep adding stuff to the to-do list, because you want to be productive always. You're always wanting to go forward. But so the first step that I do, and the number one, is to take those, we call them RGAs, so revenue generating activity. And sometimes that is the stuff that gets put to the side because, we get distracted in our day. We get distracted with, you have full intentions of taking steps that will lead to your growth, but then the days get sidetracked by little fires, other people that need you to support them, situations that show up that, require your immediate action. And this can quickly take over the entire day. So the actions for the most important tasks, the one for growth and to increase revenue or up-level our results, more specifically, the big goal that you're trying to complete for, a long time, it slowly moves down the to-do list, and it gets, other situations become a distraction, and it takes us away from that. So when it comes time to actually get into those RGAs, revenue-generating activities, you're depleted of energy and you're depleted of time. So, the first thing is, I talk about the 3 Ps is, plan that in, put that in your calendar somewhere. And generally the first part in the morning is the best. If you're not a morning person, there might be another time, and that's fine. But it's, you plan it, you prioritize it. So I often find that, the steps for our own growth for women, we put everybody else's in front of ours, and we don't prioritize that. And so prioritizing it in the top 3 revenue generators, not the busy work, not all the other stuff that has to get done, because that will get done, but these things should be done first, and then protect that time at all costs. It's so interesting. We can put something in the calendar, and if it's for our own growth, like, a client needs me, or I need to get to this or that or the other thing, I can move that to another time of the day. And that's the first stumbling block that is detrimental to anything because we don't prioritize it and we don't protect it. I mean, you and I wouldn't, I wouldn't just put the time I have with you right now, Tina, aside because, a client wanted to take up some time right now. I wouldn't say, oh, yeah, I'll just tell Tina we'll do that another time because I have this little emergency here. That would never happen. You and I have a time and we're protected and it's prioritized, but we don't do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah,
we
I
move
do that
those
a lot.
around.
I put it in my calendar and then I move it, right? I put it in the calendar and then, I won't have time to do it that time, so I'll move it here. And then the next thing I know, I've moved it 3 times and I've even forgotten how to do it.
Exactly. So if I can leave anything with everyone today is, those 3 Ps: plan, prioritize, and protect. So those get done no matter what. And, that can be, setting aside 90 minutes is ideal, but even start with 30-minute tasks that it's like, okay, what's going to move me towards more revenue or more growth? Be prepared beforehand too. Don't sit down and go, okay, I have 15 minutes to work on my stuff. If you don't know what you're working on, nothing is going to get done. So be prepared even the night before or hours before, going, this is the most important thing right now. That's the priority. And I'm putting that in my calendar. And if you break it up into 5 days, guess what? You're probably going to have it done. But if it's not protected and prioritized, a lot of times after the 5 days, nothing is done. So,
Exactly. Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
This is just amazing. Diane, tell us where we can find you on social media.
You know what? I am not a big rock star with social media, but I do have Diane Pilla Coaching sort of on Facebook, but mostly I'm on LinkedIn, just Diane Pilla, and or on my website. There's information on the website, so dianepilla.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was awesome. Like, it was almost a little mind-blowing to think that we can actually change our mindset.
Yes, we can.
I love that.
And so, neurocoaching is, the study of the mind and how it influences our behavior. So if we can understand how our mind's running, we can influence our behavior.
I love it.
Yes.
We all need some, right? No matter how old we get, we can still change the way our brain works.
Absolutely. That's the best thing ever. Yes. Yeah,
right?
We were told years ago that we can't change we absolutely can. It's neuroplasticity. It's absolutely we can. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Tina, and thank you so much for the time. I always love chatting with you. It's so exciting.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Confidence in Bloom is a celebration of self-love, a confirmation that you're an amazing, desirable, brilliant, gorgeous, talented woman, even though you may not look like a screen star or a supermodel. The truth is they don't even look like that. We offer unconditional love to our partners, our children, our extended family, even our pets. It's high time we got out of our own way and learned to unconditionally love ourselves. Chic definitely does come in every shape. So if you want something to believe in, start with yourself. If you'd like to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom and chat with me, contact me through Instagram at infobloomstyling or by email at tina@infobloomstyling.com or through the Divas That Care website.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.